The summit taking place in Abuja in just a few weeks will see our national and international interests emerge as we move forward on the vision set out by this administration to actively develop the economy's infrastructure and increase productivity.
We hope that you will join us for the many screenings that we're going to have over the next few days. There are 90 films, and I hope you'll take advantage of it. Please join me in welcoming the person who has brought us here together, the founder, the creator, the innovator, the amazing head of the New York African Film Festival, Mahen Bonetti.
Leslie mentioned 1988. That's when I was poking around. I would come here and just bother everyone, and then we finally got Richard Pena. Somehow saw something I didn't see, and then in 1993 we launched the first edition of the New York African Film Festival. Here's the backstory of that. Well, greetings. It's always so lovely to have everyone here on this day. Finally, you're holding your breath and you see all these familiar faces and old friends, new ones you're going to make, and it warms our heart. And it takes a lot to get here, and you make it happen as well. So on behalf of Film at Lincoln Center and the African Film Festival, we welcome you to this very exciting occasion as we celebrate new worlds of inspiration, visions, and voices. This marks our 31st edition of the New York African Film Festival, where each edition revitalizes our commitment to promoting positive intercultural dialogue. Gracing us with your presence is a remarkable testimony to the New York African Film Festival, aka NYAFF. And over the years, we've showcased the best of who we are and all that binds us. More than bringing African films to global audiences, the festival, like this theater, is about inclusive cultural spaces. As a key feature of NYAFF is raising awareness of how cinema contributes marvelously to various aspects of society, we wish to pay homage to our African filmmakers, whose creative zest gives insight to the diversity of Africa, its heritage, histories, and social realities. As you draw from timeless storytelling, you are filmmakers, storytelling traditions, chart your own directions, expand narrative frontiers, and project Africa's rich and enriching heritage. This festival blossoms because of you. Especially from the onset, NYAFF is pride as a storytelling initiative, challenging old and new traditions while celebrating the ever-evolving trajectories of storytelling that those traditions make possible. Our opening night film is in inviting us to rethink certain assumptions about creative practices, cultural formations, experimentations, and homegrown reference points actually emerge from, broadens the scope and palettes of African cinema. Though born out of an urgency to have our voices be part of the conversation about us within global circuits, the NYAFF has its home beyond boundaries and borders, and it also values the commitment we have reaped from our patrons as sponsors, and crucially, from you, our community. We remain deeply honored by the immeasurable contributions all have made over the years as the festival reaches greater heights in support of African cinema's quest for self-representation, building capacities, and impactful experiences. Together, we make this place a better world. Really, this is about the collective. It's not, I'm standing here today, but it's because of the collective of people like you and those who, because, there's a burnout. and And so I really thank you from the bottom of my heart, and the staff especially, and those who have volunteered. And they're the ones who keep giving me this sort of engine, fuel my engine to continue. So I thank you so, so much. And before Mr. Tolu Ajayi, the director of tonight's feature Over the Bridge, comes up to greet you, our guests, we must also acknowledge all of the filmmakers and actors who are here with us tonight. So please stand up and let's give you a resounding, robust New York applause. Please stand up. You really make the world a better place, and thank you for taking, some of you have come from afar to be here with us, and you've really worked with us to make it happen, We're always rubbing our 2 cents, but somehow we make it.
The corporate machinations, masculinity, and sort of the journey of some of the issues we do have in our society. So we sort of made this movie consciously thinking about it being shown within the context of, I'm so sorry about the lack of subtitles, it being shown within the context of Nigerians who would see it and perhaps see a little bit of themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say that one of the things that I saw in the film is that the whole concept of loss, you could actually just see it in Folarin's personal life, you could see it in his career, and I just wanted to say, how would you, what more can you tell us about the concept of loss and Folarin's character?
Yeah, so from the context of our society, there is a sense of impotence, watching things happen and not really being able to do anything about it, which of course, is contrary to the idea of, you being macho. So we are playing two people, and I speak again in the context of a Nigerian man. So we're kind of, you can be two people, you can be this super aggressive or stoic, having it together kind of guy, and there's a huge vacuum, or being the other side of that as well. And having been in corporate for a while, it's something I just wanted to explore. I wanted to put on screen, and and see, let people kind of see that, and see those areas. And Folarin's character, who means well, is really a part of the problem.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we'll get later. We'll talk about his character because I have some questions about his character later. Yeah. But I just wanted to look at some of the things that you built in the film. If you're from, people who are really conversant with Lagos, if you live in Nigeria, Lagos is actually a city that we consider the city of bridges, right? Yeah. And the bridge that we kept, kept recurring in the film is the Folarin Bridge. It's a really, it's one of those really iconic bridges that we have in Nigeria. Tell me about what the significance of this bridge in your story, because I'm not sure anyone has really romanticized Folarin Bridge like the way you have here.
I don't have an obsession with bridges, but my commute for a while was across it. And when we were doing the story, I've always wondered what the guys that were under the bridge did. So there was when Tosi shared the script with me, I shared the concept. It's called catabasis. It's in the idea of fishermen that deliver people. If the fishermen that carry people to the land of the dead. So when we started talking, when we got into the idea of the concept, I started to associate the people who live, a step lower, and the guys that work there, what's their life like? And if you kept up with Nigerian news, some of the guys that work in these villages, when there's development happening, they sometimes lose themselves, their families, and the land is reclaimed, or sometimes there's resistance and other things happen, and there's huge conflict. So we try to bring all these elements together, and the idea of bridges, if you've been to Lagos, Lagos is a coastal city, so the bridges connect you to all parts of Lagos, and it's linked to the promise of all of us being together as one big community. So the bridges left untended are sort of carcasses of promises. So there were just these ideas we were kind of dealing with. There are completed ones as well as the ones that also connect us to each other. And there are two different worlds that sort of come together. The guys that have it, sometimes the guys that don't have it. So there are many ideas of what bridges do mean, because bridge is talking about links to different communities, and there's an economic disparity between.
I mean, still on the bridges, because I was also when I watched the film the first time, what I thought was that the light rail project for me is almost like a metaphor for Africa's struggle, trying to keep pace with modernity and all of that, because you get to see a lot of all of these unfinished bridges around here. And so, but for me, coming from Nigeria with you, I know that it is really difficult to have access to some of these places, right? That particular one that you've used, tell us more about, that and how you're able to just secure some of these places, and the whole concept of using the light rail in itself instead of just the bridges.
Okay, so that light rail project, whenever anything needs to happen, there's usually a lot of men standing on the podiums telling you this is going to happen. We have this obsession with men and microphones that tell you, and that's okay. We're going to take you from here to there. So it's about promise keeping, and there's an infrastructure story. So there are carcasses of projects that are unfinished that we also kind of later the film with, and we used. So there was this project that wasn't finished for a long time, which is the light rail. It was left there, so the skeletons of the unfinished project sort of became like an eyesore. And we happened to be filming the film, so Tosin very courageously, and we sought permission, and we got permission to shoot those. It's like a dead dinosaur that has its bones all over the place. So we started filming around there, and just when we were about to finish, the government actually, so they actually finished the project. The good news is they kept our promise. So the project is actually up and running in Lagos. New management, new thinking. So kudos to them on that one.
Okay. Yeah, because I was also just going to, still on the bridges. It's not a question. It's just adding to it that I know based on what your film is about, corporate corruption and all of that, and how you're able to just have the access to that, because usually they wouldn't actually give you that sort of access based on the story
Okay. So because the project is sort of subleased, I think I have to give credit to what's it called, a location manager. The people that were building it were Chinese. So I think we had a conversation. It was a Chinese company that was doing it. So the conversation was actually with them, and not necessarily through the government. So they didn't mind us filming around there, and at that time, so the project had stalled, so it meant nothing to them.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to something which is a bit more deeper. And that is many African societies, we tend to believe in the supernatural, right? And sometimes when you have this whole thing about coma, we actually believe that sometimes when you get into coma, it's almost like you've been taken into another realm, just like what we've seen with this particular character. So for me, I just wanted to know, how were you able to balance the scientific and the spiritual when you're actually telling this story? Because the way American audience will take it will be different from the way we're going to take it over there in Africa. Yeah.
Okay. So there is a mix of different ideation. So I think the core thing is that the land doesn't forget. So the ballet represents kind of like the avenging spirit of the land. And sometimes corporate interests kind of trespass against that. And the idea of the ballet in Yoruba means the chief or the reigning authority over the land. So he represents the spirits of all the people who had the land taken from them, and he sort of is a recurring conscience to Folarin. So it's Folarin's conscience, and in some subliminal way, Folarin keeps experiencing the idea of the land and the waters calling him, throughout the experience, because the deal was obviously dirty from the very start.
Okay.